Marvel Phase 4, aka the tentacle phase. All right, let's do this.
Oh yeah, I know.
I can't think of a way to say this. It's not like rude, but like you're blowing your load early.
Hey, and that has been Lunchbox TV. Thank you for joining us.
Hello and welcome to the Lunchbox Reviews. Today we are doing Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I am joined by Alex.
Hello.
And Michelle.
Hello.
So just a quick overview from Google. Shang-Chi confronts the past he thought he left behind when he's drawn into the web of the mysterious Ten Rings. Shang-Chi, of course, stars Toronto's very own Simu Liu, Aquafina, the legendary Tony Leung, Michelle Yeoh, among others. So before we get to our spoiler discussion, what did you guys think of the movie? Free of spoilers.
I will start. Awesome, amazing, and like the whole Marvel fatigue thing, like we've been talking about for the past few weeks. It's like I wouldn't even say it disappeared. This just did not feel like a Marvel movie, and I was so happy that it did not feel like a Marvel movie until it did feel like a Marvel movie. But like that's a spoiler, and that's like a post-credit thing. Like but the entire movie, self-contained, beautiful. Only like a little like link to like past Marvel movie, which is a character that pops up. No biggie. But I thought it was great. It delivered on everything like an action movie should be, and it met my expectations of great choreography and action, top notch. Maybe the best we've ever seen in a Marvel movie.
Oh, I agree. I wasn't sure what I thought about it, though I had so many people telling me like, you're gonna like it. I was like, no, we'll see. I liked it. Everyone was right who told me I would like it. I absolutely loved it. Without specific spoilers, the first half of the movie, I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. This is great. And then when the second half of the movie came, I was like, wait, no, this is different. And I am obsessed with it. It went places that I was not necessarily expecting for a Marvel movie, and I saw things that I wasn't necessarily expecting for a Marvel movie that just blew my absolute mind, and I loved it. I was a little nervous with the way the story was going that I wasn't going to love it, and I was totally wrong. I absolutely adored it. It's easily for me in the top 5 of my favorite Marvel movies, and I'm going to see it again. I'm actively looking for people who haven't seen it who I can go to the theaters with. I'm like, do you want to see it? Do you want to go see it? I really, really enjoyed it. And to what Alex said, the Marvel fatigue, what Marvel fatigue? This movie is just a league of its own, in my opinion. So loved it. Great.
Yes, I agree completely with both of you. We mentioned it several times, the Marvel fatigue, and especially when we got Black Widow, and although some of the Disney Plus series are okay, it wasn't like wow, right? Even What If, we like one episode of it, and so going into this, it was sort of kind of what's gonna happen now, but it blew me away. The action was great. The cinematography was just like, whew. So I was almost gonna just go into spoiler territories over there, but yes, I really loved it a lot, and we should start with a spoiler. So you know what?
Wait, before we spoil, we should all talk about where we saw it and how we saw it, because we've done that for the past couple movies we're talking about.
Since you watched it IMAX, that's the one I paid for, and then my friend got 2 tickets to just a regular one, so I've seen it twice. It has to be you guys have to see it in IMAX or something really big.
Yeah, I saw VIP. I was a little closer to the screen, so like when the action was happening, I was just kind of like doing one of those. But like if I would have known about like the entire third act and how that action was gonna look, I would have just went IMAX from the get-go, because you have to watch this in IMAX.
Alex, I had the same experience. I was in the frontest row, the ones that like lie down. I was dying.
Oh no.
It was challenging. It was a little bit challenging. Like I saw it in the VIP. That's where I like to see my movies. But I'm 100% going to see it again further back and hopefully in IMAX as well. Either way, theater experience. Did not see it in a drive-in this time. So, I'm back in the theater with real humans, not just stuck in the car.
Man, I hate that front row. We're just like, was that Falcor?
Yeah, I'm literally like, because the screen's so big. So when stuff is moving quickly from one side to the other, I'm like, like flipping my head back and forth. So I ended up having honestly a gnarly headache by the end of it. Didn't ruin my movie going experience. Honestly, I was just like dead when I got
home. So with that, we're gonna go into spoiler territories. We're gonna discuss the stuff that we like, that we didn't like. So let's get the ball rolling with the stuff that we liked.
Michelle,
please. I mean, I'll go first, and I'm gonna jump right into the thing that I like the most, which is the third act. I'm just gonna spoil that part. So when they kind of talked about it being this like fantasy situation where there's like mystical creatures and this and that, I got nervous. I was like, oh, I don't know. It felt so grounded in this like urban story in the city and the fighting. It felt very like not high fantasy and not mystical creatures. And then they kind of moved into that act where they did through the maze and then they showed up. The creatures were so cool. The big soul-sucking creature and then the dragon in particular. I get chills thinking about how sick that dragon is. Just the character design and the way it looked so good. Like a big monster battle in a Marvel movie. Hello? It was sick. It was so cool. And the design and in particular, the dragon and the way the dragon moved was flawless to me. I don't know. I had no notes. I was like, I'm just here for this. I want more of this. This is so good. I thought it would feel cartoony or silly, and it didn't. The stakes continued to raise, even though there were these like silly looking mystical creatures, but they were just so well done that it just felt like it totally belonged in this story. And I loved it so much.
He's a great looking Pokemon, that's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was definitely a Vulpix there, I'm pretty sure.
It was a Ninetales. Yeah. I said this. I literally said it out loud. I was like, oh my god, it's Ninetales. Loved it. So cute. So cute.
Yeah. I mean, like, just judging by the trailers, I was hoping for something that kind of reminded me of like the old classic movies that I loved, like Golden Child with Eddie Murphy and Big Trouble in Little China, just like cool kung fu movies with crazy magic in it, and like and this was it. This was definitely it, and we haven't had one of those movies in ages. And I think like the reason why the whole mystical stuff works so well in the third act is that like it was gradual. Like in the first act, you had that really cool. Sorry, not first act, just in the first scene, you had the really cool scene with like the rings. You see the powers as they happen. You have that crouching tiger, hidden dragon fight scene, and then like gradually you see the little Pokemon creature with no face and no butt. What was his name? Was it
Morris, the chicken pig.
Yeah, that's it. and then yeah, you just get to the end of the movie where you see it all just balls out crazy. So like yeah, that's why it works so well to me. And as for a thing I liked, simply put, the action. It was awesome. All the set pieces were great. Like it's hard to pick out like a favorite, but it was just like every time there was action, it delivered.
I really like the 10 rings, the actual 10 rings, because as some comic fans know, the 10 rings are basically, in the comics at least, they're basically kind of like dollar store infinity stones, kind of. And they sort of have their own kind of power for each ring, but I like how they work in unison to each other, or whatever. It hasn't been really explained. We'll kind of get to that later, but yeah, those 10 rings were really cool. And another thing I'd like to add is that Tony Leung Wenwu / the Mandarin, whatever, was a really good villain. I I guess I can put him in my top three, that in no particular order, between like Killmonger and Thanos. He was fully fleshed out. He was a great dad, other than being an international criminal and mastermind. But yeah, Leung was really awesome. This was as much he was much as heart of this movie as Simu Liu was as Shang-Chi.
I'm gonna give a special shout out to Aquafina. I really liked her. I've seen her in a couple different things. I don't always love her specific brand of humor. I don't know, this, like, I guess her name is Aquafina, so that like awkwardness to her doesn't work for me sometimes. In this movie and in this context, as like his weird best friend, worked really well. I actually really bought into their kind of relationship and their friendship. It made a lot of sense for me, and I kind of liked her storyline, and just the progression of it. There's a couple things I would change, but I just thought as like this friend, like the friend character, you know what I mean, like what Ned is to Spider-Man, like in that kind of role, she did really well, and I think held her own against like a really fantastic cast. I think everybody was so well cast and so spectacular, and I thought being the comedy character, besides stupid actual Mandarin, the actor Trevor, besides him and his comedy, which is a different like category to me, I thought she held her own really well and brought like enough comedy to it, but without really cheapening it, because we've seen and we've complained about Marvel kind of going a little too silly sometimes. And I think her character was a really good in-between character for that.
Her jokes were well placed and didn't ruin any moments at all. With the, it gets tense and here's a joke and you're like, oh, come on, that joke didn't need to be there.
Yeah. I want to expand on that and saying that I am so grateful that like there was no, like, there were little hints of it, but thank God there wasn't any like romance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank God, like platonic friendships between a man and a woman can exist in, like, thank God movies are figuring that out. Like it's the biggest bummer. Like Black Panther was bogged down by that a little because of that. Like there's no reason for this. Like if you're not gonna flesh it out, don't bother. It's not necessary. But yeah. Aquafina as Katie was fun to see, and good character relationship, good humor.
Just again, we'll stay with the women here. They were all badasses, man. From his mom, his aunt, his sister, and there's a way where some movies just kind of want to write this up. You're gonna be a badass woman, and that's all you're gonna do. But they're kind of just, how do I phrase? They're just naturally kind of the badass that they are. Nothing needed to be forced. Like his mom was really cool. His aunt was really cool. His sister was just, their stories were really good, and nothing about those ladies seemed forced. And I love that about that movie.
That is like, I think one of the things I like the most about this movie managed to deliver more badass female characters than Black Widow did. And like how?
Oh yeah.
And I love that, because like you said, Lou, it wasn't this force. Like they had these really complex backstories that made them badass. It wasn't just like, you're a badass and my character's going to call you a badass and that's how we know you're a badass. They had these really fleshed out stories, this really awesome background, all of these like emotions, and all just, so every single female character had a full complete background and story and relevancy to the plot. And I absolutely like, I wouldn't change, I don't think anything about any of these female characters. I thought they were all in their own way so spectacular.
I'd like to say, as like a protagonist in the movie, he was very relatable. That's just like a great hero character to have in a movie. Like you know his personality, you know his backstory. It's not like I couldn't even tell you Captain Marvel's backstory. I only saw the movie once, and I'm still confused as to like whether she's a human or a Kree. Or like it's probably an easy explanation, but I couldn't tell you, and I couldn't even tell you the personality, because like she's really like cocky sometimes, but like you see in the Avengers movie, she's like really friendly. So like, I couldn't tell you like her personality, but like Shang-Chi, like you can tell where he's at, what he is. by the end of the movie, there's character growth. Every character has their own arc, which is really important. And yeah, that like great going for like awesome brand new protagonists that unfortunately will be folded into the Marvel universe soon enough, which I'm not looking forward to. Yeah.
I think you touched on, sorry, I just want to comment on what Alex said. I think you touched on something, Alex, in the fact that he's such a relatable character. And I think it's been a little while since we've seen a everyman superhero. The only person I kind of think of is Spider-Man, but even then he's like super smart. So he kind of has, and obviously like he's trained like the martial arts thing and all that, like very trained, but like working as a oh my gosh, a valet, and like the whole commentary, and you're just like a normal dude. And then even at the end, the callback when the friends are like, I told you to like do something cool, and like, why are you coming back with this lie? I just think that's also what makes these characters relatable, because they're living like working these like crappy jobs and just kind of, and they seem relatively content with it. They're like, you know what, we're doing our thing, it's all good. And I loved that about the character, so that it's not like, you know, a Tony Stark, you don't get like the billionaire philanthropist, you don't get the super smart character, you don't get like born in Wakanda Black Panther and all of the lineage and all of that. So you can still have these characters kind of rise to the occasion, even though like they're just normal at the start of the movie. And I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Another thing that I like that really stood out in this movie, I think Alex already mentioned it earlier, was just like the martial arts, the whole fighting, the fight scenes was just spectacular. I was, to be honest with you, like the first one, I can't remember, I think with Shang-Chi was the bus, and I was like, okay, if I kind of saw this in the trailer, if you know this, I hope it gets better, and it does get better. Every fight gets better. That fight with a Death Dealer, I think he was called, was really awesome.
The one with
the mask.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Death Dealer. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
That was really cool. Yeah. So I know I said this in I think Black Widow was like, oh, it was really good hand-to-hand combat. And I was like, I'm sorry for that statement. This is really great hand-to-hand combat. It may be the best in the MCU.
It's up there with like Winter Soldier.
Yes, sorry.
Winter Soldier. Yeah,
Winter
Soldier has some really special parts, but yeah, I was really happy.
The scaffolding fight, like
a little bit.
Yeah. That reminded me of I think it was Rush Hour 2. They had like the scaffolding part with like Jackie Chan and Christopher,
and a few other Jackie Chan movies too. They reference Jackie Chan a lot in this movie too.
Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah,
like the bus one with a jacket. That's like a Jackie Chan thing.
Yes, the trademark.
Yeah. So good.
I also liked how they put the TTC, the Toronto Transit, on the map better than Toronto ever has in its but that aside, I will say this: it has made me really excited for movies like Blade, or something like Moon Knight, where like you get your like brand new character in a standalone story, and you could just sit down in the theater and be in that with like no worries of continuity or like or anything. Because like I was a little concerned when they introduced the portal thing in the mystical realm, and like there was something behind it. I was dreading that it was never going to open and it'd be like a tease for like a future monster, but no, they introduced it and they dealt with it in like the entire space of time that the movie takes place. So kudos to that.
Just to add to that a little bit, with like when we're talking about like Blade and Moon Knight, they really can just keep them separate from everything, which is what in a way DC does, except like, you know, the movies aren't that great, but
yeah
they do it like that, and it's really good. I was kind of actually bummed just a little bit, and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna play out to be a bigger thing with everything. Just
I was thinking it was a nihilist. It was kind of cool, like, oh, a nihilist for future movies, but then it was like, oh no, they're introducing it and then they're dealing with it as a movie should do, because like Marvel trained us wrong. Where it's like, oh, we're gonna have to wait 10 more movies, and the Fantastic Four will give
to
you
get
more
that
plot.
finale we wanted. Yeah,
Exactly. But no, it's like, okay, this is what they do. Boom, Dweller in the Darkness looks like Cthulhu. Really awesome.
yeah.
Very cool design. Yeah.
The soul suckers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I like you mentioned the Death Dealer, but like I like jobber enemies that like they look like they were more than jobbers, like Razor Fist. Like he had, Fist. He had a gimmick that was cool. Yep. Death Dealer had a gimmick that was cool, and like it brings a lot more life to these movies. It kind of like how Street Fighter, you see like cool, like the movie, it was horrible, but like you see like these cool character designs, but they don't really do anything, right? But like but yeah, it was a cool.
Just give us that bad guy.
Character.
No need to explain everything about him. Just let him be cool looking.
Beautiful.
Yeah, just let him be the mini boss. Like, give me the mini boss and just carry on with it. Yeah.
The mid-level boss. Middle manager.
I want to see, though, a Razor Fist Taser Face crossover. Like, give me those two together. That's what I'm here for.
Hey.
It's Marvel. It can happen.
Right?
So with that, we are going to move on to the stuff that didn't really work out that well for us. So who'd like to go first?
I'll go first because I think maybe you might disagree with me, but I'm open to it. Because I half liked, half didn't like this. So one of the questions I had going into this was, how are they going to address like the Mandarin that we've already seen in the movies? How are they going to kind of address that? Because I know it's like, wait, that's his dad's thing. So like, and I know a lot of people, it was going to be, you know what I mean? It was a little disappointing when the Mandarin was revealed as just an actor. In the Iron Man movies. So they kind of address that a little bit by bringing back this character of Trevor, the actor, and he kind of joins them on their antics. I really don't like him. I love the actor. I like Ben Kingsley or whatever his name is. I love him. I hate the character. I absolutely hate the character. To me, like a little moment of a reveal of this character, of them meeting him in the basement and leaving him in the basement, would have been perfect for me. Having him come along for the rest of it, when to me, that's where Marvel went too far with the funniness and like the silliness, because his character is just too silly for me, and it didn't work. And every time he was on screen, I was like, get this dude out of here. I hate him. I don't want to see him. I think you addressed it enough, because like the father character addressed that this person had stolen his name and how he felt about it. And like they really addressed that. And I thought that was super duper awesome. But then having Trevor like tag along, like Morris would have been fine, like the little chicken pig faceless thing.
He had to go home. Morris had to go
home.
So
cute. Love him. Morris is great. No issues with Morris. But then having Trevor tag along, I did not love that at all. I was worried it was going to ruin, like I was worried he'd be in too much of the fight scenes and actually start to ruin it for me. It didn't get that far, but I hated him as in the third act, like when he progressed forward. I hated that. That was my least favorite thing.
I'm such a disagreeer. I definitely disagree.
I knew you would.
Yeah. He got the biggest laughs out of me. And out of the theater, to be honest with you, like the theater was laughing at like a lot of his antics, because like they came at the right times. Like nothing like over the top serious was happening except like the very, very end. But even that, the playing dead thing, it was a nice turn and reveal, and it just jumped right out of there. But like him reacting to that, the horse is like, whoa, what's he looking at, that horse, right? Like
actually, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, he had these funny lines. It was okay. Plus, I do like the I don't know if it's retconning as much as like just this explanation of like that whole Mandarin thing, and how Tony Leung's character was just like brushing that aside. Like he was really offended by it, but it's a lot better that they folded the Mandarin comic story into Shang-Chi instead of using it for Iron Man, because I don't think like mystical elements would work in an Iron Man movie. But it pissed a lot of people off. That's all I know, the whole reveal. But in this movie, I didn't quite mind that.
And I am in the middle of this, in where Ben Kingsley, I did not mind him there. Like he didn't do, if he wasn't there, I didn't do anything for me. He's there, just add a little laughs. That's cool. So him being there didn't affect me much. So whether he was or wasn't, it was okay with me. But again, with the like the just the Ben Kingsley stuff, I think one of the things that I did not like about Shang-Chi, I think the second act was just a little bit slow, like it dragged. I mean, I'm pretty sure they could have cut like 10-15 minutes out of that and it would have done nothing for the movie. But yeah, I think it started off really cool and then it slowed to a halt in the second act, and then I guess which makes it cool because the third act just went nuts but yeah, second act for me was a bit slow.
Okay, I gotta say something I don't like. I didn't like. Okay, I'll just go with like the biggest dislike, like of things I've ever disliked. It's got to be the mid-credit scene. Like I had zero time for that Marvel shit, like at all. Like I saw Captain Marvel, like get out. I saw Bruce Banner, get out. Like you don't need this. I don't need this. I'm okay. Just have your Shang-Chi movies. That's cool. Like have them deal with Shang-Chi stuff. But like once like you're trying to explain stuff, it's like, oh, it's not mystical, it's not outer space, it's not scientific. It's like, oh, okay, so it's multi universe. Yeah, we got it. We know this. We know where it's all going. But yeah, I like at that point, I'm like, I saw that. I'm like, I'm not even staying for the post-credit scene. I literally left the theater. I'm like, I'm not doing this. Yeah, I don't need more. Although, like when I read the post-credit scene, I probably should have stuck around. Yeah, I should have stuck around for that because it did answer a few questions about the sister. But yeah, the Marvel tie-ins basically. I have no time for it at this point. That's part of the Marvel fatigue thing.
Yeah. Then I'm curious what you thought about the Wong Abomination fight.
I'll get to that.
Okay.
My next turn.
Okay.
I'm
too busy trying to jump ahead.
It might surprise you.
Interesting. We're gonna argue again.
Oh, probably.
As far as that mid-credit scene, I agree completely with Alex. Actually, I don't like both end credit scenes. The mid-credit scenes, for obvious reason, where it's like, cool, we're gonna tie into the bigger everything. Ring sent to Beacon. Who could that be? Oh, let's think. Let's analyze every trailer now. The second, I mean, the end credit scene with the sister was just like weird because I didn't see it coming. She seemed like they were in a good groove as a family. I mean, just Shang-Chi and her. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't clear about it. Was she back starting her fighting ring again, using the 10 rings as something else? Or was she just really taking down her dad's old bad, habits and turning it into a good thing? But yeah, so both the mid and end credit scenes did not do anything for me. I didn't like it.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the Abomination and Wong fight. I didn't like it at all. Why was that in there? It didn't, to me, like the reason why you two didn't like necessarily the post-credit scene or the mid-credit scene is why I didn't like the Wong Abomination fight. Okay. For why? What are you doing? Who, like, what? It didn't add anything to me. And I have no problem with like fan service and those types of moments, but I'm sorry, who's asking for a Wong Abomination fight? Like, that's so weird. Give me anything else. Like, give me, Korg. Sure. Stick a little Korg fight in there. That's cool. That's fine. It just didn't make sense for me. And like, why is Wong teaching Abomination how to throw a punch? Like, I had so many questions that I didn't really want to have at this point in the movie. I'm like, this has nothing to do with the main reason I'm here to watch this movie. So all the questions I had when I left the theater were to do with Wong. And I'm like, I don't care. That's not why I'm here right now. I'm not here to watch, that. It didn't do anything for me. It honestly annoyed me. And then for the mid-credit scene, I didn't have an issue up until they started trying to explain things. I'm like, if they had just walked through the portal with Wong and it was done, cool. That's enough of a tie-in for me. I get it. We're trying to do the whole like setting up the Avengers thing again, where like Nick Fury showing up at the end of every movie to say, hey, come on. And it's just Wong doing it this time. That I'm okay with. Like, let them walk through the portal and let it end. So I just don't, like, we get it. They're being brought into the main universe. But then having Captain Marvel there and having Bruce Banner there with the arm, I thought he was Smart Hulk. Where am I wrong? Did I miss a
Yeah, I don't know
beat?
what's
Like,
going on with that arm.
hello?
It's like, he's Bruce Banner now, but the
He
arm
was
is
supposed
still...
to be Smart Hulk. That was like, I was thinking there was gonna be a Smart Hulk movie, which I'm not on board for. So I was like, why is he like this now? Where is this happening in the timeline? Like, what the hell is this? Why are all my questions not about the main storyline? I don't, like, stop it. You're muddying the waters of the main storyline. And then for the final credit scene, did not like, because the thing that I just said that I do like is I love all these beautiful, amazing female characters and their full story arcs. And it felt like that end credit scene just undid all of her story arc, because I interpreted it as now right? She's evil. And I was like, huh? I thought we were good and we were nice and we were, you know, doing all these things and whatever. And I wish I'd pulled an Alex, but left earlier. Just like the moment the credits roll, I'm out. That's my movie. I would have been a lot happier with that.
Like the mid or end credit scene definitely should have been just Wong showing up. It's like, okay, we got to go. Welcome to the
circus. Was just gonna say that.
And then karaoke, Hotel California, the three of them. That
was great.
Like, oh,
that was cute.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's it. And then that's all you need.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say the perfect mid-credit scene was that Wong coming back to grab them, and then karaoke, and everything is good.
Yeah.
Let the other movies figure out everything else. Because again, and to add to what Michelle was saying, now I have to wait for the She-Hulk series to find out why Abomination was there, why Bruce Banner was like that, why Wong was helping Abominations. Like, I didn't need to let that happen when that happened. I didn't need to know that.
Yeah. My thing with the Wong Abomination thing. Okay, so first of all, it wasn't clear what was going on. My interpretation is that they were fixing fights.
Yeah.
And when Wong opened that portal, it looked like he was taking Abomination back to his prison cell. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Like until the next time, right? Like that's what it felt like. And it wasn't like there was a tonal imbalance, because like, oh, you suddenly have superhero stuff in the middle of this like crazy kung fu movie. But my actual problem with it was that it was spoiled in the trailers. Like the trailers all showed them fighting, and I couldn't tell you what my actual reaction to that scene would have been if it had been an actual surprise, which it should have been. So that's a horrible misstep from Marvel. It was, it was weird. I didn't quite hate it, but it's one of those weird Marvel things that like Lou says, like it brings up too many questions about the She-Hulk show, like the next Doctor Strange movie. Yeah, there's a lot of continuity stuff now.
Just to add to that, like during the whole fighting thing in the little arena, I was more interested in what was going on in the little cells. Like you had that guy with the extremist kind of thing, and who was that dude with a pointy mask? That was more interesting to me
the pinhead
than
looking
the
dude.
Actual Abomination, and
E Honda was fighting Ryu.
That was awesome.
From what I could tell,
I think at this point, Marvel is doing the thing where they saw success and they saw people getting hyped for these types of moments in their movies, and they're like, let's just stick it in every movie ever. It worked one time, it'll work 200 times. And now, however many movies later, you got our money, like you've got our buy-in. We are Marvel fans. We're here. We're here for it already. You don't need to like tease us for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing for every single thing you do, because we're gonna watch it. Like I'm gonna probably watch She-Hulk without the stupid Abomination stuff. Like I really would, because at this point, I'm how many years deep, how many dollars deep? I'm gonna keep watching it. You don't need to keep trying to like, come on. We're already on board. We're already here for it. And at this point, it kind of like, I can't think of a way to say this. It's not like rude, but like you're blowing your load early.
Hey, and that has been Lunchbox TV. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
On the next movie. Yes, more of that. All right. I even forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say, that I think we're probably like the three of us are the exception to that rule. Like all those cameos and stuff probably works really well with like the majority of the fan base, and like us feeling this way. Yeah, we're probably the minority right now. It might be because we have to talk about it so much. That might be what's killing it. But I'll keep doing it.
Oh yeah.
It's killing it, but we're gonna continue. See you in 100 new episodes.
Yeah.
Like a drug. We'll keep taking this drug.
Yes.
It's killing us, so we can't stop.
For me, the last thing I want to add to the stuff that I didn't like was that as amazing as that final fight was, especially with the dragons going crazy, for me, I thought it took me out a little bit because of the heavy CGI that was happening all over the place. It was still really cool, but from the fights were just grounded when it was the 10 ring soldiers versus the Taulo warriors. It was really awesome, and I liked when it was grounded like that. But I also understood that they had to go full Marvel and do that dragon thing and the tentacle dude, can't remember what's name, the super soul sucker they were talking about. Yeah. It was really cool looking, but I thought it just took me out a little bit, although it was still really good.
I don't know if this is something I disliked, but like, was it a little weird that Wong also invited Katie? He's like, he says to Shang-Chi, he's like, oh, come with me.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go. And then he treated Katie like she was also a superhero. Like, you know, it's like, no.
She shot one arrow.
You shot one arrow.
Exactly. Yeah. She should have been like, oh no, I'm coming too. I don't care what the sanctum.
That would have been more in line with her character too. To be like, oh no, we're a package deal. Like something of that nature would have worked better for her.
She did that going to Macau. She should have also done that going to Wong, right?
Yeah. I totally agree.
And with that, we're gonna talk about our fave scenes in the movie. Would like to start it off.
This is so hard. Even though I started it off saying how much I like the high fantasy stuff with the monsters and this and that, that's up there for me. But my favorite scene, and the scene I keep replaying in my head, is a scaffolding fight. The choreography, the flipping around, that to me was just beautiful. So good. And it felt intense. It felt really intense. Like it felt like the stakes were actually high, which is what I want in these types of situations. I'm like, someone's going to fall off the building and die. And a lot of people did. So I got what I wanted from that fight. It was great.
You know what? I'm going to say, like, it was a huge CGI fest, but like it did seem earned. The fight between Shang-Chi and his father, Wenwu. It was like a lot of crazy stuff with the rings, but like by that point I've seen a lot of like hand-to-hand stuff that like instilling this mystical element. It like I said, it was earned, and it was just really cool to watch visually, and you see Shang-Chi becoming, you know, his own person, you know, and the growth, etc., as you say.
For me, it's actually kind of two parts. The first part is Wenwu and Shang-Chi's mom, Li, I think her name was. The fighting they had when they met the very first time. The choreography was really beautiful, and it shows the two contrasting styles of the way they fight, where Wenwu was like super aggressive, and kind of the mom's was like just soft and kind of airbendy for you last airbender fans. And then the part two is the Shang-Chi and the father fight, where Shang-Chi started off fighting like his dad, like the super aggressive style, and then eventually moved on to combining that with his mom's technique too, which got him the rings. So yeah.
Can I change my answer and copy Lou? Because the mom-dad fight, the word that came to mind when I saw that, it looked like a dance.
It's
like
elegant.
It looked gorgeous, and just the movement was so it looked like a dance, and I totally bought into the fact that they fell in love doing that, because I actually felt that. Like I felt like this is actually like this weird like it's like a dance, like they're doing this little like back and forth romantic fight. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was gorgeous. I'm like, I want to fall in love like that. Oh my god. Like I'm falling in love with her. This is great.
Yeah, and because the fact that she beat him, that's like, all right, now I'm interested in you even more.
Yeah, so good.
With that, we're gonna give our final thoughts and score.
I think the most important thing this movie did for me was just reinvigorate my passion for these Marvel movies, specifically like the because we're kind of like in this era of like the B-lister Marvel characters, because like, we did the A-listers, and like Shang-Chi, when he first came out in the comic books, he was just a shameless Bruce Lee ripoff. Yeah, and it was just like Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, nothing more than that, never interesting. But like this movie brought a lot of interest, a lot of creativity to the character, and definitely generated my interest. So like I want to see more of these like quote unquote B-listers, you know, coming to the forefront, getting their own movies. And like, I'm sorry, the Eternals, I'm not feeling too good about that one, because it's like that's gonna be mired in like Marvel continuity, and like I don't know how I feel about that right now until the movie comes out. But yeah, Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings, awesome movie. I'd give it a 8.5 out of 10.
Okay, I'll go next. Like I said at the top of the episode, this is in my top 5 favorite Marvel movies. It just was a lot of what I like and things I didn't know that I liked. I didn't know how I'd feel about these big monster things and all of that in Marvel, and it worked so well for me. This movie, I feel like this is, as far as rewatchability for me, this is one that I feel like I could enjoy 10 viewings out, 20 viewings out. I feel like I'm still gonna get as much from each fight because they're just so nuanced. There's so much to them that I think I'll just enjoy it visually for a really, really long time. And I think that's exciting. It's not super often that I'm like, I could watch this 100 times and still really love this. And I think this movie might do that for me. I'll let you know once I go watch it again in theaters if I still feel the same way, but I think I do. So for me, I give this movie like a really, oh God, like 9.2. Like it's more than a 9 for me, but it's not like a perfect movie. It's not a 10. So like a 9.2, it's spectacular. I think everyone, not even Marvel fans, should watch it. Like, I just think it's a good time, good stories, good characters, beautiful, beautiful movie.
Love this movie, and as we mentioned before, it was not a Marvel movie until it became a Marvel movie. This gave me just the feeling of watching it afterwards reminds me of kind of what I felt when watching Guardians of the Galaxy for the first time, where it's like, I don't know who these people are. I know them by name, but then again, the filmmakers did help to create all that. Yeah, I love this movie. I'm giving this a 9. 9.
Yes. I feel like giving it a 9 too. Like, think about it. You know what? I'll go back. I'm giving it a 9 also. Yeah, it's a 9.
We convinced you.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's how we do it here.
Yes.
And with that, that is our review of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but we have a price whenever we get to 1,000 subs. Please let us know what you thought of the movie. If you agree with us or disagree with us, all movies are subjective. Maybe you hated this movie like a piece of crap, sorry, or you love this like it was 11 out of 10. But we'd like to know what you thought. Once again, I'm joined by Alex and Michelle. Social medias are down here, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.